I was just here minding my own business, working on doing a little summer cleaning, not spring cleaning. And then I saw this news from Shams Charania of no longer The Athletic, the evil four letter. I will bring it up so everybody can see it here. As people, I think, are starting to join the chat. I didn't say I put a link out for it yet. Los Angeles Clippers forward Nicolas Batum is declining his $4.9 million player option for the 2025-2026 season to become a free agent. Sources tell ESPN there's mutual interest between the NBA veteran and the Clippers in a new deal together. I hope that means it's coming soon here. Sorry, this was impromptu. Let me see if I can get my headset working in here as well. Yeah, I think we're good now. So the news is this. The news is this. As people are still dooming in here and talking about the draft, Nico Batum has declined his $4.9 million player option for the 25-26 season. He will be an unrestricted free agent as free agency hits tomorrow at 3 p.m. Pacific time, but there is mutual interest between the NBA veteran and the Clippers in a new deal together. Together forever. I know, Batum Battalion, stand up. You guys do not want to lose this guy. Nobody does. I would expect them, just at first glance, to bring back Nico Batum. Why? Because all signs have been pointing that way, including this report from Shams Charania. I'm not overly concerned with it. Should I be? As I now put out the link to this episode? No. Just posted this on X. If you guys are joining the show now, we got action. We got news. I know people are freaking out, but read the fine print here. There's mutual interest between the NBA veteran and the Clippers in a new deal together. I'm a little bit surprised that he didn't just opt into it. This could indicate that he wants another 1+1 so he can decide if next year is his last year or not, or maybe he plays the year after that too. That's kind of what I'm thinking about here with Nico and what this looks like. That's the first thing that crossed my mind. Why didn't he just opt in? So some people in here are responding, if I'm the L. Frank, I use the mid-level exception on Nah, then trade Bogey and Dunn for a good, young, athletic four. Dream off-season for real. Okay, that didn't have much to do with Nico. Again, Alan NG, who's freaking out here, and other people trying to talk him back down off the ledge. Marcino Johnson said he's getting a new deal. Calm down, guys. Ghost said, I like Batum, but not signing for more money. Come on, bro. Miles Johnson said, don't think it happens, but Nico leaving would be catastrophic. RB said, is this French? He's for Nico Batum. Yeah, you guys are going to have to translate that for me. I'm not that worried about it. And I'll tell you another reason I'm not. I'll bring up a video from Nico. And this was post-game after the Game 7 loss. He was asked about his off-season and what his plans are with the Clippers. Let me see if I can find that post-game audio for you guys here. As we just got news from Shams Charania. Come on, Nico Batum, Game 7 post-game. What other post-games may come up? When he eliminated the Mavericks, when he was playing for Philadelphia. Okay, I got it here for you guys. This is going to bring some clarity here. I won't share it yet. Hold on. Hold on. I got it for you. This is why I'm not very concerned. Maybe we'll have to use Lily Batum as a reference as well here. His lovely wife, they have a great family. They live in Los Angeles. I don't think he wanted to go to Philadelphia for that season. Here was Nico Batum directly after the Game 7 loss to the Denver Nuggets in the first round.
I mean, I hold them a lot, for sure. Hold them a lot.
Are you going to be back next year?
If they want me to.
If they want you to. Come on.
Time.
Look at that. Look at that. Listen to that again. Come on now.
So, I mean,
okay, we'll go back even further.
And I was pretty much done playing.
This is what the Clippers mean to him. Listen to this.
Myself, and we didn't show that tonight.
What made you want to come back here? You've been here once before, but you can't make again.
Yeah.
What was it about this team?
I mean, like I said, they gave me a chance when I was pretty much done playing basketball. And they gave me a chance 5 years later to be in this spot and playing those type of games. So, I mean, I hold them a lot, for sure. Hold them a lot.
Are you going to be back next year?
If they want me to.
If they want you to. Come on.
Time made adjustments.
Okay. They both have a good laugh about it. That was just Russo asking the question in the locker room after the loss in Denver. Nobody should be concerned about this. I think the idea is he either signs another 1+1 for a little bit more money, and therefore if he wants to play after next season, he still has that option. I thought there was a chance that this may be his last year, so he would just maybe opt into the $4.9 million. That was a possibility. He declined that. Now we got something from Bobby Marks here explaining more of the salary cap situation with the Clippers and Nico Batum. Bobby Marks retweeted what Shams Charania posted, which, if you didn't know, Los Angeles Clippers forward Nico Batum is declining his $4.9 million player option for the 2025-2026 season to become a free agent. Sources tell ESPN there's mutual interest between the NBA veteran and the Clippers in a new deal together. Bobby Marks said, because Batum has non-bird rights, the Clippers are allowed to start his next contract at $5.6 million, 120% of his 2024-2025 salary, or use some of their 14.1 mid-level non-taxpayer mid-level exception. Okay. Now, of course, they would like to use I think that on somebody else. My guess is not that Nico Batum isn't worth it, but they want to do both here. They want to bring back Nico, and they want to have the $14.1 million to play with for somebody like, I don't know, maybe Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Maybe that's not going to be in his price range because he might get $18 to $22 million, but there aren't that many teams with a lot of money out there to spend, so it's possible Nickeil Alexander-Walker, otherwise known as Na, gets the full non-taxpayer mid-level exception. This is just breaking news. This just came out a few minutes ago. I know you guys are talking about it in here as well. Clips or Die said, I thought he would opt in. I did too, but if you can get a little bit of a raise going from 4.9 million to 5.6 million, why not? Why wouldn't he do it? Cap's going up. The Clippers can afford to give him that. Ace Boogie said the Clippers are going to give Nico an undeserved raise. This team can't get out of its own way. Shut the Ace, you're just being a doomer. Undeserved raise of what, $500,000 it would be? A little over that. Nico deserves whatever he can get out there, and he is a Clippers role player legend. We love Nico Batum. Clips or Die said, I think he resigns, but for how much more? Well, I think for about $700,000 more. That's what the raise would be from 4.9 million to 5.6 million. Ice Cold Beverage said thought Nico was considering retiring after this coming season, so it's a bit surprising. There weren't any indications of that as I played the audio for you after Game 7. Jay said one last paycheck. I get it. Venkata said I think he likes the Clippers, so he will come back. Art H said, does this mean he's gone? No. Are you listening? Clips or Die said, I mean, he always says how Ty Lue saved his career. I don't think he goes anywhere. Yes. He's talked about how they saved his career, how he owes them. Miles Johnson said, Bobby Marks post. Yes, I just read that. MX Canara said, Harden next. If so, El Frank will have his work cut out for him. I'm anticipating Harden next. I haven't seen an update yet from Shams. I put out a tweet a little bit earlier saying that we would be on if there's any breaking news. There was breaking news, hence we are here. I'm in a tank top. I was doing some summer cleaning here. Roger Rabbit said, hell no. Okay, Ace said he gets more money, which eats into the tax ML. That's not necessarily true at all. He can get paid $5.6 million. Were you listening without any of the 14.1 from the non-taxpayer mid-level exception being used? This is doomer, hopeless misinformation. Ace gets a timeout. For his last tweet too. Miles Johnson said, if we have to dip into the mid-level exception, I don't think we can get into the NA sweepstakes. I agree with you. I think NA is going to require the full mid-level exception. Clips or Dies said, yeah, I don't know about dipping into the mid-level exception. I don't know either. Ben Cotta said, who will we trade in a sign and trade for NA? In a sign and trade? I don't know if they're dangerously close to the second apron, the Minnesota Timberwolves. They don't want to reach it. It would probably be, I would guess, maybe Norm to try to match salaries if they did something like that. There's other teams, of course, that are very interested in Neil Alexander Walker. He is one of the better guys available. Venkata said Miller in a second for Nikhil Alexander Walker. I don't think they're doing that, nor would the money work. Roger Rabbit said, come on, Ace. He deserves it. Yeah, Ace got put in timeout. It's just Clay said, so how many years did he need? A 2 or a 1 year? It's either going to be a 1 or a 2 year deal, a 1+1, so then he can have the decision whether or not to play after this season. Or maybe he says a 1 year deal. This is my swan song and my retirement year. Ryan Garcia said Nico helped us in the playoffs. Nico helps the Clippers whenever he's on the court. He's that type of player. He is one of my favorite Clippers ever. He's one of my favorite people, one of the best interviewers or interviewees. He's just an incredible human being. The Batum family is revered here. We know that. Miles Johnson said Nico deserves whatever he can get. He's amazing. Jesse Beers says Nico isn't going anywhere. Just hope they don't dip into the mid-level exception. With people talking about dipping into the mid-level exception, like they didn't have to dip into it last year to bring in Nico, so I don't think they'd have to dip into it this year. Ben Cotta said there was a rumor the Clippers also may be interested in Anthony Simons or Devin Vassell as well. I saw that too. I don't know who had it originally or what article it was coming from, but somebody hit me up with that. Let me see if I can find it for you guys. This was coming from, I don't know if anybody can cite the article, if this is from Bob Murray or it's coming from Clutch Points, I believe. I'll share the screen with you guys. You know how I feel about Anthony Simons, Adam Likey. Another team worth mentioning regarding Simons, if the Celtics were to relocate him again, is the Los Angeles Clippers. Simons is a player LA has been linked to previously in trade rumors, but the Clippers have their own problems to sort through with Norman Powell in the final year of his contract and James Harden potentially opting out to demand more money in free agency. It looks like that's coming from Clutch Points. Tomer Azarli, maybe. I'll just give him credit, or Brett Siegel. I'll give them both credit. Joe Def still talking about Nico, the French Swiss Army knife. Clay did say Nico is my favorite role player on this team. Art H said, I love how fast you are with the breaking news. You're the best. You caught it, Arch. And what the hell am I doing? RB said, Bon voyage, Nico. That's not. Do I need to read the report again? Why are people acting like. Here, I'm going to play this for you again. I know the Clippers want Nico back, and I know Nico wants to return to the Clippers. So
playing basketball and gave me a chance 5 years later to be in this spot and playing those type of games. So I mean, I hold them a lot for sure. Hold them a lot.
Are you going to be back next year?
Do they want me to?
If they want you to.
Time rate adjustments.
they have a good laugh because we know there's mutual interest from both sides, and Shams Charania only backed that up in his report here on Nico Batum. For those who didn't see it, this just came out about 10 minutes ago. maybe 15 now. Los Angeles Clippers forward Nicolas Batum, is declining his $4.9 million player option for the 2025-26 season to become a free agent. Sources tell ESPN there's mutual interest between the NBA veteran and the Clippers in a new deal together. There you have it. What are y'all worried about? I'm not worried. His family lives here. They love it here. He loves the Clippers. He credits them for saving his career. Yes, Jesse, this is true. Nah could go to Atlanta. Venkata said we need to get younger and feel Anthony Simons would be good. Bogey and Eubanks would be good for trading both those guys for him. I mean, he has an expiring deal. So if I'm Boston, I didn't just trade for him to reroute him again, but hey, they didn't have to give up much. So if somebody wants to offer more, why not? But he is an expiring deal, and they're looking obviously towards the future, towards next season. Alex Webb said maybe Clippers have another free agent target they are working on, so they told Nico to decline and restructure. Maybe do the same with Harden. That's a good call. Jesse Beers said Brett Siegel had Simons. Hey, Brett Siegel's been on the show before. Maybe he'll be on tomorrow. Mechanic said, yes, Atlanta has that. Was it? It's a trade exception. They're a problem. Atlanta actually made some nice moves. I like what they have done. Deathstroke said Devin Vassell would be good for us as a tall shot creator. I like Devin Vassell a lot. I think the Spurs do too. He's 6'5". I don't know what you mean by tall. I mean, sure, he's taller than most of us, but Clay said he is the best player, hard worker, 3-and-D guy, great personality, and vocal leader. Yes, Nico Batum is a Clippers beloved fan favorite. Venkata said Harden, Vassell, Kawhi. Okay, you're just talking. Cool. I'm sure they'd love to get Vassell if they could. How's that going to happen? And Kata said CP3 Walker, Derek Jones Jr., Batum, Capella. Himothy said Lily would deadass rant on Twitter if Nico signed somewhere else. Let me see. Has Lily Batum tweeted out anything yet? We may get some intel from her. Nico tweets out here and there. But Lily Batum, very active. I'm not seeing anything. Let's see. D. Damari, with all these interests with guards, do you think we will play Jordan Miller? If he earns minutes. He got an opportunity last year, didn't take advantage of it. He had a real opportunity. He looked like to be a little bit shook, understandably, after teams started scouting for him going left. He got ripped a couple of times and wasn't the same, wasn't taking shots, wasn't making shots from three. This whole idea about, the Clippers never play the young guys. Again, who are all the young guys that have left the Clippers and have gone on to be winning players on winning teams that the Clippers didn't play? I don't think Moussa Diabate qualifies as that. I don't think Brandon Boston qualifies as that. Look at the players that New Orleans has been picking up that would be taking minutes away from him if they're so sure about him. Look at the players that Charlotte has picked up and drafted if they're so sure about Moussa Diabate. Tell me all the guys the Clippers didn't play and then went on to contribute to winning ball clubs, those young guys. It's not exactly happening. So all the criticism of Coach Lou doesn't play his young guys, maybe it's because the young guys haven't been good enough. Maybe because the front office is typically drafting later and it's really hard to find guys. As Lawrence Frank pointed out, there's a 15% chance that at pick 30, that guy is still in the league in 5 years, and it's kind of a crapshoot. I don't know. I've been trying to explain this for a while. Miles Johnson said, how would you feel about Bobby Portis, Adam? I like Bobby Portis. I'm a fan. I don't know if he'd be going anywhere, though. The honest situation, I still think he could be moved at some point. The East is pretty wide open. and they may see where they're at early in the season and then move them at the trade deadline if they're not looking like a top 6 or top 5 seed in the Eastern Conference. Or maybe they just get blown away by an offer this summer, and the Milwaukee Bucks front office runs it by Giannis. Giannis says, okay, this is best for both of us. I don't think they would blindside him. He's a legacy guy there, obviously. Bucks legend. They would have to both agree on it. I think it's kind of the same situation with Kawhi Leonard. I don't think the Clippers will blindside him, but if somebody blew him away with an offer, they'd come to him and see if he wanted to go there. It's that type of thing. So I don't know if Bobby Portis would leave until Giannis is leaving. Same thing could be for Brook Lopez. Like, are they running it back or not? Are they trying to still compete right now? That's what Doc Rivers said. They're trying to build around him, be a top 6 seed, and then get Dame back. Maybe by the end of next season, make some noise. The East is extremely weak because of guys who unfortunately have gotten hurt, in Jason Tatum and Tyrese Halliburton. Ace Boogie said Derek Jones is the only athletic player on the team. Ace is still in here dooming, even after a timeout. I'm just trying to make sure there's no other breaking news from Shams Charania here, as I've been waiting patiently to hear something about James Harden likely opting out. Hugo Perez said, well, that says a lot about our scouts and how bad we've been on drafting players. That also tells you how difficult it is to draft when you are drafting late. You can talk about the exceptions to the rule, the Christian Browns. That's not normally how it goes. Go look at former drafts and go look at the bottom 10 picks in the first round into the first 10 picks of the second round. It's an absolute landmine where teams bring in guys that end up doing nothing all the time. Ezio said, I think the only way Jordan and Kobe played this year is if they earn it. Big if true. They both missed their chance at free play time this past season. Missed their chance or didn't take advantage of it? Kobe got a chance 2 years ago during the 23-24 season. They gave him about a 10-game run. Showed a little bit towards the end of it, but Kobe is not hitting threes in the G League. If you're not playing well in the G League, if you're not showing stuff in practice, you're not going to get much run. You have to actually prove it. Ace said Clippers have to get some youth at some point. Cool story, bro. Jackson said Brandon Boston was cooking before he got hurt. What? Again, cooking while losing games on a bad team. Like, what? Tell me all the guys that left the Clippers and contributed to winning. You can talk about Musa Diabate and Brandon Boston. I'm happy for the guys. I'm rooting for them, but they haven't contributed to winning teams. Putting up numbers because somebody has to out there on Charlotte and New Orleans doesn't say much to me. And the fact that they are going out and getting guys that would take up minutes away from those two mean those two organizations don't believe in them that much. Hugo said Clippers been horrible about drafting players since the 90s. I'm not going to hold Lawrence Frank and this regime that has taken over since 2016 accountable for things that happened in the 90s. Noah said, I think Portis would be a great pickup if available. I agree. Timothy said Lily did tweet right now, but she's going at Sixers fans. Okay. RB said Lonzo Ball just got traded. What? Should have traded for him once it. Oh, Lonzo. Yeah, you got traded a little bit earlier today, and it's a big risk, but they didn't have to risk much because they gave up Okoro, who wasn't getting much playing time with the Cleveland Cavaliers anyways. But let me know if Lonzo can stay healthy the entire year. Let me know if he can play 50-plus games. For everybody worried about guys in our squad that are already injury prone, I love Lonzo Ball. I think he's a really good role player. I think he can be a role player for a championship team. I'm sure that's what Cleveland brought him in for. But his health is a real concern. 2-year, $20 million deal. The second year is a team option. So if it doesn't work out this season, they could let him go. But Incada said, should we trade Norm for a shooting guard or power forward? Let me know the names that you're thinking of. Art H said, what is the likelihood Elfrink trades Norm for Simmons? I don't know. What's the likelihood that Boston reroutes Simmons right afterwards? They're both on expiring deals. Simmons makes more. Let me see. Sorry, Simons. You spelled it that way, so I said it that way. Anthony Simons, who I am a big fan of, even though defensively, yeah, he has real limitations. He's also a flamethrower on the offensive side. I'm interested to see how he does in a better winning environment because I think he's good for a real easy 20 points. Is he an even worse defender than Norm? It's possible. That's troublesome. So his expiring is 27 million. Norm's is about 27 and a half. Norm's is about $20 million. I don't know what the advantage there for the Boston Celtics would be. Norm's going to be looking for a contract extension, just like Simons. If I'm them, I'd probably rather give Simons a look and see what his upside can be. Venkata is new here. There were some rumors that Norm could be traded in the offseason or trade deadline. Yes, there have been some rumors. Welcome to Clippers Talk. Do we have a first round pick in 2026? No. OKC owns that one straight up. It's not a pick swap. Leezy said didn't take advantage, missed an opportunity. I don't know what he's referencing. Ex Mongo Project said Nico signing longer contract or just gets a slight raise, 120% of what he made last year. Miles Johnson said, I'm not surprised Giannis isn't demanding out yet. Would much rather be in this East than getting moved out West. Yeah, I don't want to see him get moved out West either, unless he's coming to the Clippers. Timothy said, Adam, did you check the 30th pick in the last 11 years? You will see Looney, Santi Aldama, Kyle Anderson, Josh Hart, Bain, Watson, KPJ. Yeah, I saw the post on Clippers Reddit. I'm talking about taking picks around there too. But the numbers are the numbers. It's 15% that a guy sticks around past 5 years. I've looked further back than just 11 years about this. It is a crapshoot. Ace Boogie said, you act like what I'm saying about younger is wrong. I didn't say that. Look how athletic OKC is. Not even trying to be negative. It's the truth. Give me actual solutions instead of just bitching, please. ZTV said, I feel we should have pursued Lonzo instead of Cleveland. Lonzo, I don't know who they would have given up for him, making $10 million a year. And again, Lonzo, he's had like a kind of unique surgery to repair his knee that took him out for 2 years. And you guys are always talking about not wanting injury-prone players, but also get Lonzo. Does that mean Garland is available for the right price? Maybe. Apparently, for the right price, the Phoenix Suns would have been able to trade for Darius Garland. He's also not expected to be back till I think around training camp after his injury. Deathstroke said we need to replace Bogey with Nah. Bogey is washed. Bogey shot 43% in 30 games with the Clippers. He's not washed. He had a bad playoff series. Amin said, please don't leave Nico. I wouldn't expect him to. Ronnie Bell said, I would like Robert Williams, but he can't stay healthy either. Same. I love Robert Williams. Robert Williams, when he's available, is like a starting level center. Noah said, do you think Cam Christie is more likely to get burned than our 25-year-olds next year? Seems like the organization likes him a lot. No, I wouldn't, unless he shows more in the G League. He didn't shoot it well on high volume from three in the G League this past season. That's his big skill. He's got to shoot it better. Let me explain something to you guys. Guys that aren't performing at lower levels, it's like if you're not beating the video game on easy, you're not all of a sudden going to jump on or jump into the hard level. If you are having trouble on easy, then they're not going to put you at the hard level in the big leagues. You have to progressively show that you're doing well against this level of competition, and then you can level up to being in the NBA. The reason Jordan Miller got a shot this year is because he was dominating G League, Summer League, preseason. That's how you get a shot. It's very simple. Ace said, you comfortable giving Norm the extension that Kyrie got? What was Kyrie? Is it $40 million a year for 3 years? Ooh, that's a lot. That would dip into the summer of 2027. That would go into the 27-28 season. I'm not saying Norm isn't worthy of it, but I don't know if the Clippers would do it because they want that cap space then. And he's already, 31? Amin said Boston really blew up the championship core. This new CBA is brutal. Yeah, the Clippers kind of got ahead of it last season with the Paul George situation. Simons for Bogey and Eubanks. I don't know why Boston would do that. Would Boston be willing to trade Jaylen Brown away? Reports are they're open to moving anyone for the right price. Like, they will do whatever it takes to have that big reload coming into next season when we expect Jason Tatum to eventually be back. So the Boston Celtics, but he's going to be making like over $60 million. Jaylen Brown. Like, you better be sure he's your number one. I mean, he's going to be 29 by the end of this season. If you're trading for Jaylen Brown, you better hope he's your number one on a championship team. Just because he won Finals MVP, I don't think means he can be a number one on a championship team. David said, with some wishful thinking, Giannis Antetokounmpo to the Clippers. Keep saying Clippers will get Giannis Antetokounmpo. Yeah, they really don't have the assets to be in the hunt for Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's just, you're just dreaming. Venkata said we replace Bogey with Nah or Powell. I like Neil Alexander Walker a lot. Ezio said, I get why we didn't draft a power forward at 30. The stretch power forwards we need normally never come out the draft. They're developed 2 to 3 years into their careers. Picking an athletic center is a lower risk move. I follow your logic. Venkata said, should we try for Cam Whitmore? I'd like Cam. They had Cam. Clay said, what are your thoughts on these 2 players we drafted? Check out the podcast I just did. It's in the live section. Deathstroke said, why you say that, David? Don't know what he's referring to. Miles Johnson said, I like Ty Jerome, but he's small. He's a smaller guard, and we know how the front office feels about those type of players. Doesn't play a lot of. He's kind of a try-hard guy on defense, but not a great defender. I like Ty Jerome too. If they could find a way to get him, but I think he might want to be a starter, and I don't think that would be a great fit. Him next to James Harden in the starting lineup. Maybe, I don't know. D. Damari said, would you rather keep Norm or Bogey? Well, Norm makes more. Like, it depends. Like, tell me in what scenario either of them would leave. Amin said, I really hate this new CBA. I get the point, but why it's causing teams like the Celtics to blow up their championship core. Yeah, I think they're going to scale back some of this apron stuff for the next CBA. Miles Johnson said Ty Jerome was like the best pick and roll player in the league by the numbers last year. Ty Jerome had a spectacular year. Now, it is an outlier season for him. It's a one-off season, but he's going to capitalize on it. I think he's going to get around $12 million, so somewhere in that non-taxpayer mid-level exception range with the Clippers, which the Clippers do have. Venkata said, should we try for A.O. Dusman? I'm not as familiar with him, obviously. Renee said, great analogy using the video game reference. Thank you. I'd give Norm 30 for 90 at the most. 3 for 90, sorry. What did I say? 3 for 90, I think, would be fair value. I've said I'd give Jonathan Kuminga that. Reportedly, he does want $30 million per year. Clay said, no, absolutely not worth it. $40 million for a role player, that's crazy. You're talking about what Kyrie got. Liberty said, when do Clippers start to get younger? Your thoughts late in the chat. When they get draft picks back or when they have cap room to bring in younger guys. Ace Boogie said, if I give solutions, a lot of people on here would get upset. Clippers are pretty much on Kawhi's timeline, so they're kind of stuck. If you give good solutions, I mean, I'm interested. Like, what are your solutions? We're getting upset with you not giving solutions. So what does it matter, Ace? Maybe give it a shot. Give it a shot to actually bring some solutions and not just complain. Mechanic said, I think Boston knew the writing was on the wall with that team, with the aprons, but rewarded them anyway for winning. Yeah, that's what you got to do. Run it back. And I thought they were going to win the championship this year. That was my pick. And make no mistake, they lost that series. It wasn't about Jason Tatum tearing his Achilles at the end of game 4. They were down 3-1. They were likely losing that series. Maybe they could have come back, but New York earned that series against them. Boston blew those first 2 games. Juan said Musa could be a stretch 4. Based off what? Based off what? He hasn't shot it well at all from the outside. You guys just say stuff. Musa could be a stretch 4? What? M said, we're not going to win anything. What's the point? God, the doomer is strong with this one. I'm ready for this S to be over. I want young and fun. When do we get our draft picks back? 2030. Young and fun. I'm sure a lot of you guys would very quickly get sick. The same people are like, I just want to go with the youth movement. Then when the Clippers are winning 25 games, like, oh, we suck. When are we going to be good? The same people would then be complaining about that. And by the way, the Clippers were 2 losses short of being the 2 seed this season. To act like they're so far away or they couldn't make a run in the playoffs, which would be a lot of fun, just isn't true. The 2 seed won 52 games this year. The Clippers won 50. Maybe that means you should probably just try to improve around the edges with this team. Hopefully have Kawhi Leonard for longer in the regular season than 37 games this year and see what can happen. Venkata said, I created a trade where we trade Norm, Eubanks, Kobe Brown, the first for Vassell. And Spurs fans said they would accept in a heartbeat. Just getting off Vassell's contract and would love Powell. Spurs fans did not say that. I don't believe you. They can get more out of a trade than this for Devin Vassell. And a first? I don't know. Well, if Spurs fans say so, then I guess the trade's already done, right? Elijah said we got to sign Nico as an assistant after his tenure. I like that. Amin said I'd keep Bogey over Norm as he offers more, such as passing and running on offense, while Norm is just a pure bucket getter outside of what he offers. Nothing. I think part of the reason they brought in Bogey in the first place is for insurance should they move on from Norm, because he may just want much more of an extension. He deserves it. He deserves another $100 million type of contract, but I don't know if that works on the Clippers timeline. I don't know if it's going to work for both parties. I think that was part of the thinking when they brought in Bogey. It wasn't just to get off Terrence Mann's contract or just to get the second round picks. Bogey could slide in and be a 6-man for this team and offer some of that scoring should Norm leave. Miles Johnson said, apart from Nah, is there anyone else you would give the full mid-level exception to in this free agency class? The full? Yabusele. I am interested in Yabusele because he can play some backup center as well. But he played both positions, power forward and center, last year for Philadelphia. Maybe he doesn't acquire all 14.1, but I'm guessing he might get $12 million. I think Yabusele is interesting. I'm really curious to see how much he gets. He is 30. He's not a young player. This was his second stint in the NBA after being drafted by Boston a few years back. Then he went and played overseas, and then obviously saw him for France. They had a great year this year. He was a bright spot for the Philadelphia 76ers. D. Damari said, would you be fine if we, let's say, traded Norm for a starting power forward and Bogey moves up to our starting shooting guard, or would you keep Norm and try to move Bogey for that backup point guard or something like that? Something like that. I think Norm is their biggest trade chip that could land them that power forward that maybe gets them John Collins or somebody. Norm is a valuable asset. Whether he's playing for the Clippers or somewhere else, somebody's going to want him. Clay said, what is going to happen in the summer of 2027? Miss Cleo is on the phone for you. What are we doing, man? What is going to happen in the summer of 2027? Venkata said Ben Simmons is the name to monitor for the Raptors in free agency. Cool. They just fired Sai Ujiri. I don't know what direction they're going. Amin said those 2 possessions where the Celtics completely fumbled in game 1 and 2, I laughed out so hard. I was like, they didn't deserve to win with the amount of threes they were chucking. It was wild seeing the Celtics blow the first game, and then the second game was even worse. The champs do that. Ezio said, could we see the Celtics full-on tank and get a top pick? If so, this might be the future of the NBA. If things went bad to start the year, I could see that. They have a down year like San Antonio did when David Robinson had the back injury in 97 and then they draft Tim Duncan. I could see that because next year's draft's really good. Roger said, I'm ready for the rebuild. That's what they all say. And then you're in year 5 of the rebuild and wondering, oh, man, I missed the days where we won 50 games. Art H said, I heard Ben Simmons would sign back to the Clippers or with Golden State. Would you like Ben back? I like Ben. I think it would be for the minimum. Ace Boogie said, Clips should be looking to flip their core for draft picks and setting their eyes on 2027. They could get a haul for Zubats. Norm can get you a pick or 2. Likely not 2. Balmer wants to stay competitive to sell tickets. And how much is Kawhi going to get you? How much is James Harden going to get you? First of all, he's not even under contract, or we're about to find out what his intentions are. I'm assuming we're going to get something later tonight or tomorrow on James Harden, and it's likely going to be that he's opting out to test free agency, and they'll say the same thing. There's mutual interest with him coming back to the Clippers, and they'll likely get it done on a 2-year deal. But who knows? That's just been the prevailing thought that, oh, James Harden's contract will line up with Kawhi's. They'll both be off the books in the summer of 2027. M said, we don't have the mental makeup. We've had the talent 3 times and health and didn't win. When do you start questioning that? They've had the health one time outside the bubble this year. Ezio said people want to move on from Kawhi and Harden and still expect to win. I get wanting to be younger, but I'd rather be a consistent playoff team than losing one without our own picks. Losing and not having your own picks would be tough. All right, I'm almost out of here. James said, if next year is going to be like this year, why would he want a new deal? Are you talking about Nico or James Harden? Or Amin said Nico can make $700,000 more. Amin said New York literally snatched the Celtics' soul after game 1 and 2. It kind of did. Jesse said Stein is hinting Yabu is going to the Spurs. Maybe. I've never seen Mark Stein break any news before. Shams or formerly Woj or Chris Haynes. I remember him saying that Kawhi Leonard was going to check in with Dallas and the Miami Heat back in 2021. And then as soon as free agency opened, those 2 teams spent all their money and would have no chance to bring in Kawhi Leonard. And yet he kept talking like, oh, it was a real thing that Kawhi could leave. And that did not come close to happening. Amin said, where do you predict the Celtics will finish next season? I still am hopeful on them for some reason. I ain't worried about the Celtics. If they run it back with everybody else without Tatum, with Simmons instead of Drew Holiday, like they could be a top 6 seed in the East. Venkata said the Clippers were in advanced discussions for saying John Collins and Colin Sexton to the Clippers. Where's that coming from? Venkata is the one saying it. That's a lot of money moving. John Collins and Colin Sexton. Yeah, you're getting a timeout. We're tired of the fake rumors. Jesse's right. Don't need this stuff. Ha ha ha, just a joke. Good one. Chris Paul face. To Steve Kerr. I don't know. Like, nobody really has a read on how much Yabusele could get. I think it's possible he gets close to the full non-taxpayer mid-level. He had a really good year. Ezio said with the Lakers' new ownership, we have no choice but to be competitive or else we will look like the Nets. I don't know if that's the driving force here. Joe said, I heard Batum is going to the Lakers. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Did Sham say that? Oh, no. The guy with the best information said there's mutual interest between the NBA veteran and the Clippers in a new deal together. Team that he credits for saving his career, the team that he said right after game 7 he'll be back to if they want me. And they do want him. I played the audio earlier. Joe gets a timeout too. The amount of misinformation and just randomness I'm getting here. I get it. It's the off season. Free agency opens tomorrow at 3 p.m. I'll be podcasting then. Look at this guy. Look at the doomer going on here. Can't stand it. Can't stand ya. Seinfeld reference. Miles Johnson said my ideal wing targets this summer: Hauser, PJ Washington, John Collins. Wouldn't hate Yabu or Aldama though. I'm with you on all those, Miles. Good thoughts by you. All right, I'm going to get back to cleaning. Should there be more breaking news, I will be right back here. Maybe in a tank top. It's hot outside. These rumors are hot, flying off the shelves. All right, I'm Adam Osland. You have been listening to Clippers Talk. Let's get Nico Batum back, please. We love Nico. We love the Batums.